to Unrequired Reading. I'm Isabel, and today I'll be reading The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'm pretty excited about this one because this is the first book in the show that's like actually required reading. Like this book is required for a lot of schools, and it was at my school. So I'm excited to, basically I'm going to be rereading it today and deciding if I judge it too harshly and if it deserved a second chance. Because the first time I read it, I didn't love it, but I think that if on a reread I will. So today I'm going to be reading it and seeing if I was wrong and if it is a good book and I just judge it too harshly because I was forced to read it. I'm excited for this episode because first of all, this is the last episode of the series, so thank you for your support, but this is the last one. And then also my friend Daniela is going to be coming on later to talk about this book because she loves this book. So I'm going to be interviewing her and asking her why she loves this book. And we'll be kind of comparing it to the movie as well later on, so it'll be fun. The Great Gatsby is a 3.9 out of 5 on Goodreads. So it's not super highly rated, and it's kind of in that same category of being a little bit controversial. So I like that sweet spot where it's about 3.8 to 3.9 because the book has people who love it and also people who hate it. So yeah, I'm going to start reading this book and see what my thoughts are because I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it. And I think just because I had to read it for school, I didn't love it. And I think on a second time, it's going to be one of my favorites. So I'll keep you posted and come back with clips of me reading later. I've only been reading for a little bit. I'm on page 16. I found a line that I really like. It'll show you how I've gotten to feel about things. Well, she was less than an hour old and Tom was God knows where. I woke up out of the ether with an utterly abandoned feeling and asked the nurse right away if it was a boy or a girl. She told me it was a girl, so I turned my head away and wept. All right, I said, I'm glad it's a girl. I hope she'll be a fool. That's the best thing a girl can be in this world. A beautiful little fool. You see, I think everything's terrible anyhow, she went on in an unconvinced way. Everybody thinks so, the most advanced people. And I know, I've been everywhere and seen everything and done everything. Her eyes flashed around her in a defiant way, rather like Tom's. And she laughed with thrilling scorn. Sophisticated. God, I'm sophisticated. The instant her voice broke off, ceasing to compel my attention, my belief, I felt the basic insincerity of what she had said. It made me uneasy, as though the whole evening had been a trick of some sort, to exact a contributory emotion from me. I waited, and sure enough, in a moment, she looked at me with an absolute smirk on her lovely face, as if she had asserted her membership in a rather distinguished secret society to which she and Tom belonged. I just feel like that's kind of perfectly sums up this book, and that is a really interesting way to talk. Like, it just characterizes Daisy so well. She just feels like she's in this club because she's rich, and that she's sophisticated because she's been places, but she doesn't really have any like original thoughts, and it's pretty interesting. So I thought I would show that. Into the books. I love this part. Mrs. Claude Roosevelt, do you know her? I met her somewhere last night. I've been drunk for about a week now, and I thought it might sober me up to sit in the library. Has it? A little bit, I think. I can't tell yet. I've only been here an hour. Did I tell you about the books? They're real. You told us. So later on the books become pretty important because they're not real books and everyone thinks they are, and it's basically kind of one of the first flaws in Gatsby's life is that you realize his books aren't real, so what else is not real about him? I think I'm being sold. I love this part right here. I became aware of the gold island here that flowered once for Dutch sailors' eyes, a fresh green breast of the New World. Its vanished trees, the trees that had made way for Gatsby's house, had once pandered in whispers the last and greatest of all human dreams. For a transitory and enchanted moment, man must have held his breath in the presence of this continent. Compelled into an aesthetic contemplation he neither understood nor desired, face to face for the last time in history with something commensurate to his capacity for wonder. And as I sat there brooding on the old unknown world, I thought of Gatsby's wonder when he first picked out the green light at the end of Daisy's dock. He had come a long way to this blue lawn, and his dream must have seemed so close that he could hardly fail to grasp it. He did not know that it was already behind him, somewhere back in that vast obscurity beyond the city, where the dark fields of the Republic rolled on under the night. Gatsby believed in the green light, the orgastic future that year by year recedes before us. They eluded us then, but that's no matter. Tomorrow we will run faster, stretch our arms further, in one fine morning. So we beat on, boats against the current, borne back ceaselessly into the past. The end. Oh, it's so good. Oh my gosh. I can't believe how good of an ending it is. Alright, so I finished the book. And I really liked it. I knew I would, but I definitely enjoyed it more the second time, and I thought it was a really good book. My favorite thing about the book is definitely the writing. I showed a few clips of me reading it in different quotes, and I think just the flowery writing and the way he describes people and like the characterizations are so good, and it makes you like feel like these people are real, which is interesting because it's like the 20s, but I feel like I'm there with them, and I feel like I'm with Nick watching everyone. And I think the way that Nick is used is so effective because he's like the one person who's on the outside of all of this. Like he's not that rich and he's not, in this inner circle of like super loaded people in New York. So you feel like you're with Nick the whole time when he's experiencing like this new society. And I thought that was really interesting, and I think it's really well done. One review says, Fitzgerald can set a scene so perfectly, flawlessly. He paints a world of magic and introduces one of the greatest characters of all time, Jay Gatsby. Gatsby is the embodiment of hope, and no one can dissuade him from his dreams. The Great Gatsby perfectly makes use of a narrator, Nick. Why is Gatsby so great? Because Nick tells us. If Gatsby told us, we would just think that he is a braggart, the least humble person in the world. The book is wildly addictive, so intricate yet perfectly woven together. A brilliant literary masterpiece. I have to keep going back to reconnect with Jay Gatsby, a naive but beautiful and charming hope. Perfectly imperfect, a relentless dreamer. Yeah, I think the way that Gatsby and Nick are used is so well done. I think that Gatsby like has this darkness about him that is so interesting to read, and you're kind of thrust in this weird world, and like everything is not how people behave regularly. Like even in the first chapter when you're with Daisy and Tom at dinner, you're like, this is not how regular people talk. Like Tom's talking about this like super racist book he's reading, and you're like, this isn't normal, and like everyone is just so strange. And the way Daisy talks about um being like civilized and like a higher part of society is so interesting. I think this book does such a good job of like characterizing people. I was definitely proven wrong because the first time I read this book, I thought it was a little boring and I don't just underwhelming maybe because it just has so much hype. But I was definitely proven wrong. Um, one person kind of is me the first time, and they just said, "Did I read this wrong?" Which I think I personally read it wrong, and I think a lot of people read this book wrong because if you go into it thinking it's this great love story, you're gonna be disappointed because they don't end up together, and it's not very romantic. But that's because it isn't a love story, and you shouldn't be rooting for Gatsby or for Daisy or for Tom. And I think that's kind of the point, is that they're bad people. Like, it's okay to be a bad person because you're not trying to root for them. Another person said, I didn't like the book. I found it bland and boring. It is a short novel with 9 chapters, and yet nothing much happened until the middle of chapter 7. Although it was simply written, it was hard to follow. Don't understand why it is considered one of the classic novels of the 20th century. I realize I'm in the minority with my review. I did like the setting of the Roaring Twenties though. So I think that the people who think it's boring are just in it for the wrong reasons. And I disagree with this review because they say it's simply written. And I think it's kind of masterfully crafted. It's really put together perfectly in the way the plot escalates from basically nothing to the car accident and and then Jay's death, and it gets more dramatic as it goes. So the first like 5 chapters, nothing really happens, but you're set in such a good world that you don't really care. You just want to live in it. It's very fun. So I think that it's okay that there's a lack of plot at the beginning because the end makes up for it. And it's not really about the plot, it's more about the characters and the descriptions and Nick's narration. I think The Great Gatsby is a perfect book for a lot of fans of literature, like if you like books because of the writing, there's no way you hate this book. So now I'm going to talk to someone who does love this book for the writing. So I'm here with Daniela.
Hi.
I'm just going to ask you a few questions about the book.
Okay.
And then see, because you're a Gatsby lover.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you first read the book?
I read it in Miss Redberg's Lit Studies class in when I was a junior.
Okay, so last year?
Last year.
Yeah. And then what made you love it? Like, when you were reading it, why did you fall in love with it?
I like the book because like when he first introduced the book to us, he was like, yeah, like a lot of people say that it's a love story and that they have like the Great Gatsby wedding theme and whatnot, and I was like, oh, okay. But then like once I actually read the book and like he helped us understand the way that it was written, because it was written like in like not in our times.
Yeah.
And like the way that he explained it to us, like this is not a love story. Like this is like literally like a tragedy, like what happened. And so I just really enjoyed how some people like take it as like this love between Daisy and Gatsby, but like other people like myself take it as this terrible tragedy that could have ended so much better, but it didn't. So that's what I like about the book.
Okay. Do you think it being a tragedy is better? Like people who interpret it as a romance are kind of wrong?
Honestly, yeah. Because like if you think about it, there's so many like better things that could have happened to both Daisy and Gatsby.
Yeah.
And like honestly, everyone like in the book, like even Nick, if their love would have actually like worked. Like if Daisy actually like went back and told Jay that like she did not love him, you know?
Yeah.
So
like, do you think in a different world they could have ended up together?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope so. I really hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So what is like your favorite scene in the book?
Favorite scene. Okay, so I know the scene I really hate is this when they all go to the hotel, or like Myrtle and like their apartment thing. And like the whole scene just made me so uncomfortable, super tense. Like definitely not. I think my favorite scene was probably like the one where they had the party at Gatsby's and like they do like the scene where he lifts up the glass. And I watched the movie, and so I think the reason why that's my favorite scene in the book is because like in the book I imagined it 10 times better than like what it was in the movie. And like the movie I was like, what? I was so disappointed, but that's my favorite scene in the book, because the way that they described him doing that, he felt so powerful, so like cool, like I wanted to be him, you know? So that's my favorite scene.
Okay. Do you think the movie was a letdown?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like honestly, the acting was like good. But like I just wanted like better like acting, like better like emotion, like just they could have done it better. But
because to me the movie felt like it was like praising their lifestyle, whereas the book felt like it was critiquing it. Do you agree? Where like the movie is like glamorizing all of their crazy stuff, and the book is like glamorizing it but also poking fun at it.
Like it didn't feel as much as like a stab to it as like the book did. And like I guess an aspect that I really did like about the movie is how they included like artists, like artists like Lana Del Rey, Kanye West. Like I think that was kind of funny, like a little twist on it.
I think so too.
But I did watch like the beginning of like the first Great Gatsby movie we did, because it was on Netflix a while back. I'm not sure if it's still there, but that one was really boring. It was so bad. I had to take it off.
I think this book works best as a book, where like, because it's written so like kind of beautifully and like you really like you vision everything in it, and I think in a movie it kind of like deadens the whole thing. Like it just
I didn't feel as like connected as I did to the book, which is why like the movie's like
Okay. And then do you think that people should give this book a second chance?
Oh, absolutely. For everyone out there, junior or senior, or just anyone who wants to reread the book, please do, and contact Tony Ryberg, because he explains it so beautifully. Like if he wasn't there to explain it, I'd probably be like, I'd just been like, oh, okay,
whatever.
But like the way he like articulated and like explained certain scenes, it was like, wow, like this is like real, like this was like an actual like situation. And so I just really enjoyed being able to like read the book with him. And then like after the class ended, I actually went and purchased my own book because I thought it was so good. So
because I just finished rereading it, and the first time I thought it was okay. I was like, I'm not too attached, and the second time I kind of fell in love with it. I was like, I see what the hype is. And so I feel like people would benefit from a reread.
Were you on Daisy or Gatsby's side?
You know, I feel like they might be both bad people. I kind of sympathize more with Gatsby.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Because like the whole running away, she's like, oh, I'll never leave Gatsby, and then runs away with Tom, and like it was like, I don't know, she's a shady person. I think
maybe it's because she was raised differently than Gatsby,
Yeah, I think so. She, like, the privilege was always there.
And Gatsby had to earn it, even though he was like a bootlegger. Like he still had to earn it in some way. He still had to work for it.
He worked hard, just you know.
And he had a goal. He had a vision, but the vision did not want him, which is funny. But yeah, it's a good book. Please read it.
Thank you for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the Creative Communications channel. Comment below if you've read this book and if you agree with the past me or the present me about it. And also if you've seen the movie. I want to hear your thoughts on the movie too. Thank you for the support over this series, but this is the last episode. Our Creative Communications Twitter handle is on the screen, so follow that. And without any further ado, I'll see you later.